know the internet today, in Britain where I live, accounts for 8% of power output. 8% of our power grid goes on our engagement with the internet. And that doesn't sound like much, but if we in Britain continue to engage with the internet at the rate we are today, by 2030 or so, we will be using 100% of our power on the internet alone, which means that there'll be no power left for the refrigerator and no power left for your sexy new electric car, because it's all taken up on the internet. So we have problems we have to solve even without climate change. And the digital revolution is making it possible for us to innovate together to solve or at least address some of those issues. But there are some challenges with digital, and you will recognize them, I'm sure, here in the Netherlands, just as we do in other countries. The first is the problem of social cohesion. Technology gaps are now opening up because of digital. In 2017, 51% of the global population is using the internet. Now, I don't know if you understand how young the internet is. I remember when there was no publicly accessible internet. I went through 6 years of university as an architect without ever having the internet. I know, that's horrifying, isn't it? It's hard to believe I'm even alive and can stand up here today and breathe the same air as you. There was no internet not that long ago, except among universities and military strategists. But today, 51% of the globe uses the internet. That still means, of course, that 49% don't. There's a gap in the technology. 2025, 70% of the world, according to Cisco, will own a smartphone. 70%. Do you remember when you got your first smartphone? How many remember the launch of iPhone in 2007? It's not that long ago. And yet, today, or within the next 8 years, we'll have 70% of the world using these things. And that's amazing. But 30% still won't get access to the opportunities that the smartphone affords us. There are gaps opening up in terms of debt today. This is in the press again today in Britain. And I do a lot of commentary on this issue because it concerns me greatly. In 2017, bank losses on UK consumer credit are 10 times higher than they were in 2007. In other words, banks are losing 10 times as much money from credit debt than they were 10 years ago. Just individual people who can't pay back their credit debt. Are you with me? Part of the reason for this, and something that's not often talked about, is what I call digital debt. Cash has weight. I find it messy, cash. It gets dirty and crumples in your pocket, and it's uncomfortable to carry around, but it has weight, and I can feel it leaving my pocket. And I can understand that I'm running out of this stuff now. But if I reduce money completely to the ones and zeros of binary code through a wave and pay or even a biochip built into my hand, I have encouraged people to spend without forethought. And someone wrote to me today and said, well, that's just a generational thing. And I said, no, it's not. And there are reasons I can't give you right now because we don't have time. It's not purely, it's a generational thing, it's a human thing. And am I advocating that we all go back to cash and turn back the clock? No, I'm a futurist. By definition, I don't want to go backwards. But I think we have to be aware that debt gaps are opening up.